because it's time for Ringside. Got a bunch of news lined up for you, ladies and gentlemen, so without further ado, we're going into much discussed Sports Illustrated report of WWE's WrestleMania 40 plans. WrestleFoes checked with their sources and believes the three big matches discussed in it could, quote, absolutely happen in Philadelphia. However, thinking they're, quote, set in stone is a little naive. WWE isn't happy with the SI report, though, quote, especially labeling it as sources close to Triple H, as if he'd be so open with this type of specific information. So, the three big matches are The Rock versus Roman Reigns. The second is Cody Rhodes versus CM Punk. The third is Gunther versus Seth Rollins. So, they didn't really lay anything out for Rock versus Roman, unless, you know, the whole, I'm the head of the table thing was kind of alluding to that. They were basically going off of the fact that the interaction that Cody and Cody and Punk, because I was trying to think of Cody and Seth for some reason. Anyway, so there wasn't anything like for Cody and Punk. It's just they said that Cody was not going to finish his story at WrestleMania and that he was going to face Punk at WrestleMania. And then Gunther, right? Okay, spoilers? I mean, is it spoilers? I don't think it's spoilers. Okay, we'll get into it. So, Gunther is going to face Seth Rollins at WrestleMania, and he's going to win and go into Bash at Berlin as a double champion. Now, I don't think that that's spoilers, because in reality, in fairness, they were like, it could happen, but setting it in stone is a little naive. I don't know. The Gunther Rollins thing is probably the least likely thing to happen, right? I was under the impression, because, okay, there's a lot to talk about here. Gunther entered into the Royal Rumble, and he's entering in as the Intercontinental Champion. And a lot of people think that he's going to win, right? And I was like, well, okay, if that's the case, then maybe he will vacate the IC title. But now, according to Sports Illustrated, they're saying that he's going to go into Mania with the IC title and leave with the World Heavyweight Championship. And the only reason why he's doing that is so that he can go into Bash in Berlin. But that's a long way away, which, I mean, I guess is the point, because, I mean, man, by the time he gets to the Bash in Berlin, he's going to be super strong, right? Okay, Rock vs. Roman out of the three, I think is probably the most likely that's going to happen. They said that they've got plans for Cody. They've got like huge plans for Cody, and this is, I guess though, they said that Cody beating Punk, because he's going to beat Punk at Mania. They said that this was going to, like, you know, help him on his road and that sort of stuff. So I don't see any of these happening. Could they happen? Absolutely. Are they going to happen? I don't 100% think so. That's just my opinion. I think that we're probably still going to get Roman Cody. We're probably still going to get Punk Rollins, and then maybe, I don't know if Gunther Lesnar is still going to happen. I mean, if you want to, you can make that sort of thing, start in the Rumble itself, and then you could build that up to Mania. But I don't know. I think that these are just dream matches, and I think Rock, Roman, Cody Rollins, and Gunther Lesnar, I think those are probably the three most likely matches that are going to happen at WrestleMania. Sticking with Sports Illustrated, they named Bayley and Gunther as favorites to win Saturday's Royal Rumble matches, and the latest odds from BetOnline now reflect that. Bayley passed Becky Lynch as the women's favorite, and Gunther now has the same odds in the men's match as existing favorite CM Punk. I feel like my top four, my final four for the Royal Rumble, Bayley, I'm gonna say Bayley again, Becky, Nia, and Jade Cargill. I feel like between Bayley and Becky, they did, if you remember way back, they were talking about Becky versus Rhea at WrestleMania, and then they were going to do Jade versus Charlotte, but obviously Charlotte's injured, so that's not going to happen. So maybe they will go with Bayley. Well, that doesn't really change anything. I don't know. Between Bayley and Becky, I feel like it would probably be better for Bayley, just because, it would be, you know what, they might have Bayley win, and then Bayley will get kicked out of Damage Control, and then she'll challenge Io Sky for the title at WrestleMania, and then she'll win it. That seems like a pretty decent plan. You can still do Becky Rhea at WrestleMania. I mean, they're teasing it the whole time. I mean, they could just be teasing it just to sort of have a story going in for the Rumble. I don't 100% know. This is really difficult because there's two gigantic storylines that are currently happening as we are speaking. You have Becky trying to overcome Nia Jax and in the process trying to sort of like prove that she can like contend for Rhea's championship. And then you've got Bayley sort of like on the outs of Damage Control. And, you know, when she does get kicked out, it'll be a massive face turn for her. And it could be the story going in for the Rumble as well. So I really don't 100% know who is actually going to come out of this. I genuinely don't know. Again, two massive storylines. So like, you know, it could really go both ways, to be totally honest with you. I think that Bayley is probably the more compelling storyline out of the two, to be totally honest with you. I think, again, like I said, you could definitely still build Becky versus Rhea. I mean, there's still Elimination Chamber to go through. You could have Becky win the, well, no, because that would imply that she's going to be the champion. So, I mean, yeah, you could still have like a storyline going into Chamber and then, you know, going into Mania with Becky and Rhea. So, out of the two of them, I think that Bayley's probably going to win. Now, Gunther, I don't think Gunther's going to win. I don't think that Cody's going to win either. I think it's probably going to be Punk. The four men, I think it's going to be Punk, Gunther, Cody, and I don't know. I genuinely, Drew. I think Drew's also going to be the last four. I don't think he's going to win, but I think that he is going to be the final four in the Rumble. Now between Gunther and Punk, I think it's going to be Punk. I'm still sticking with Punk. I think the only reason why they're going with Gunther is because of the leaked WrestleMania plans and everybody's kind of just changing their minds at the moment. So at the end of the day, I don't think it's going to be Gunther. I kind of agree with Sports Illustrated. I think it's going to be Bayley, but my guess is going to be Bayley and Punk, not Bayley and Gunther. Sticking with WWE, in a report on a moment Cody Rhodes and The Rock shared backstage on Raw on January 1st that was captured by a WWE photographer and Rock's team, Fightful Select says, quote, the nature of the exchange was that Rock supports Cody and what he's been doing. Their sources say Rocky has, quote, long been a proponent of Rhodes, even while he was in AEW. Those sources, quote, got the feeling that The Rock wasn't there to stand in the way of anything, but the moment happened before Rock's promo on the show, and, quote, most didn't know his head of the table line was coming. It makes a lot of sense that The Rock would definitely respect something that Cody Rhodes is currently doing right now, especially since The Rock has the UFL going, and he literally just signed on as a board member of TKO. You know, it's one of those just real recognizing real type deals, you know, where The Rock has been making a bunch of moves in like the movie industry, and he's definitely been showing his businessman chops, and Cody Rhodes has been doing the same thing, not so much in the movie industry, but simply because, you know, he's showing that given a little bit of time, you know, you can make strides if you put a lot of work and time and effort into it, right? And I like that The Rock is showing respect. I like that, you know, at the end of the day, you know, the head honchos are more so being like, hey, you know, I'm not so much trying to make it seem like I don't like what you're doing, and I don't want to make it seem like, you know, your movements and your, you know, accomplishments are, you know, negative on me because you're doing it outside of the WWE bubble and you're, I mean, ultimately trying to be better than the company that I helped create in a way, you know what I mean? So I like that everybody can, well, The Rock and Cody specifically can step back and be like, hey, you know, you're doing a lot, I'm doing a lot, right? And I respect that, and I think you're doing great, you know? So, at the end of the day, there's not really much else to say about that. I'm glad that they're not fighting, and, you know, I didn't know that the Rock line, I kind of, you know what, though, thinking about it, I kind of had a feeling, you know, it just sort of, the lead up just sort of gave me that impression that he kind of just thought of that on the spot, which I guess now is leading to a Mania match, so maybe it wasn't thought of on the spot, who knows? Finally, Insider also heard talk from behind the scenes at Raw on Monday and at WWE HQ Tuesday about the company, quote, incorporating some sports-centric elements into the programming as they try to, quote, root the product in stronger realism. If you think about NFL and NBA, they've got the pregame stuff, right, where you got Michael Strahan. He went to space, you know, and, you know, Charles Barkley and all that, talking about who's going to win, right? And then you got the halftime report, right? And then you got the post-game interviews and what have you, right? Technically, WWE has the bump, and Raw's got Raw Talk, and SmackDown's got the SmackDown Lowdown, and then they've got the Raw exclusives and what have you, right? The only other thing that I could think of is would have to be like, well, AEW's got the timekeepers table, right? And they do say that, they say, oh, this match is going for 20 minutes, 60 minutes, that sort of deal. So maybe that's something that they could potentially do. I was thinking, you know, NFL's got, oh, you know what, the tail of the tape, that's what it was. I was thinking that WWE might start doing like tail of the tapes, you know, like how tall they are, how much they weigh, you know, that sort of thing. To be fair though, they kind of like, SmackDown was doing that for a time. SmackDown had like, you know, the factions they were in and stuff like that. They kind of stopped doing that. Maybe they're going to be like more photographers on the side. I don't 100% know. I mean, there's a couple things that they could like sprinkle in to make it a little bit more real. I doubt that they're going to try and make it like real, you know what I mean? Like boxing and stuff like that. I mean, it's 2024. Everybody pretty much knows that it's not really like real anymore. But I mean, if they're not trying to go down that like deep of a route, it makes sense that they probably like sprinkle in a couple things. That's why I was saying like they might do like more interviews, you know, more like post-game, pre-match type stuff, you know, that type of deal. The AR, because NFL and NBA does that with the AR and the stuff like that, you know, so maybe they might do, because, you know, NFL does the thing where, like, you know, like the weird, like, just out of context, AR stuff where they've got them in, like, a medieval setting or they're, like, on a farm. Like, maybe they might do that with, like, the reigns and the matches and stuff like that. So maybe that's something that they could potentially do. I don't know 100% know. Again, they could do, like, tail of the tape, you know, for, like, all the championship matches and stuff like that. So I don't really know. I genuinely don't know because, like, again, it's not, like, real. So, like, yeah, what could they potentially do, you know? So I don't know. I guess we're just going to have to wait and see what they end up incorporating. What do we talk about? All right, so the three matches again are Rock versus Roman. I think Roman's obviously going to win. We've got Cody versus Punk. Cody's going to win because I guess he's going to further the storyline that might happen in next year's WrestleMania. I hope that's not the case. And then we've got Gunther beating Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship. He's going into Bash at Berlin as a double champion. I think that Rock, Roman are probably the most likely out of the three that are most likely going to happen. Cody, Punk, you could do because they did allude to it, but you can more say that they did it for the Rumble and not so much for a match. And Gunther Rollins is probably not going to happen because I feel like Punk and Rollins is probably being a little bit teased a little bit more, and it's probably going to continue on after the Rumble, right? WWE's not happy with that. Fair enough, right? Bayley and Gunther are the favorites to win. Bayley out of Becky? Yes. Gunther out of Punk? No. I'm going with Bayley. I'm not going with Gunther. Okay, Rhodes and Rock shared a moment. Great. I mean, they're both trendsetters. I mean, Lord have mercy, man, so it makes sense. Okay, wasn't there to stand in the way of anything. Makes a lot of sense. Most didn't know his head of the table thing was coming. Again, like I said, that probably means that they didn't tell him to say that, which means he went out there and was like, I'm gonna shake this up, you know? Which alludes to the fact that there may be something, which is why he said it. He wouldn't go out there and just say nothing, you know what I mean? And then nothing happens from it, so I think that he did that on purpose. In his new role as TKO board member, PW Insider reports The Rock led a staff meeting at WWE headquarters in Stamford, Connecticut on Tuesday. Nothing much to say there. Probably was just like, hey, you know, what's going on? I'm new here, technically, even though I'm not, you know, just a lot of prerequisites, you know, nothing crazy, just a lot of boardroom talk, you know, circling back to the, I don't know any business speak. And Inside also talk from behind the scenes, Raw, HQ, company incorporating some more sports-centric elements. Now again, could be tail of the tape, could be, if you don't watch NFL, you have no idea what I'm talking about, but if you watch, like, Thursday Night Football and Sunday Night and all that sort of stuff, where they do the weird, like, you know, cutaway AR, where they've got, like, the cutouts of their heads on, like, gladiator bodies, and, like, they're in a farm or something like that. You know, it's like the weird, it's all just to sort of, like, give you context on, like, their stats and stuff like that. I don't know what they're going to do, but, like, I've seen enough NBA and NFL to know that maybe that's something that they could go down the line of, and they already do the post-game stuff with the Raw talk and the bump and all that sort of stuff, so maybe there's going to be more pre-game, mid-game type deal. I don't 100% know, so we're going to have to wait and see what they end up doing with that. Folks, that's going to do it for this episode. Hopefully everybody has a wonderful tonight and a wonderful tomorrow, and as always, big hugs. Big hugs all around.